Hey, I'm Matt, and I'm sharing my journey with you about founding a studio. I'm going to found a photography studio, and I want to share that journey because there are a lot of people out there who have something in the back of their mind that they would really like to be able to do, or something that they'd like to accomplish, a different way of living or something. And they just have no idea how to get it out of their head and how to actually turn it into reality. And I've learned a lot in the past couple of years about setting a goal and then pursuing it. So you come up with a vision of the way you would like things to be. You set a concrete goal, and then you break that goal down into smaller chunks, and you start to work towards it. What throws everybody off, if they even ever get to the point where they have a clear vision and they set a goal and they break it down, which most people never get to, the thing that usually stops people is the first obstacle that comes along. The first obstacle is usually really small, but if you don't know how to get past this obstacle, you just don't move forward. And life, the routines and the monotony of life just kind of take over, and you end up binge watching Netflix or whatever you like to do, and sooner or later you've forgotten all about your goal, and it just becomes something in the back of your mind, something maybe you like to do someday. You hope, when life isn't so busy, or when whatever, maybe you'll get around to this. But the truth is, you never will if you don't set a goal and work towards it and learn how to overcome obstacles. So the first obstacle that I have to founding a studio, the first obstacle I have to overcome in founding a studio is finding a location. And so I've broken down my goals into here's what I want to accomplish in a year. Like the big goal that I have is 1 year from now to be celebrating a first successful season in my studio. How do I get there? I mean, there's a reason why I didn't make that goal something I want to do next week, because there's too much to accomplish to get to the point where you're celebrating your first season in a studio. So I've broken down that goal. I've said I want to accomplish this in a year, and I've broken it down to what I'm going to do over in each quarter, in each 3-month period. And then I've broken down the quarters and said, here's what I'm going to do each week. Now, I haven't broken everything down. I'm really just looking at this first quarter, the next 3 months, basically October, November, December. So one of the things one of the things I need to do this quarter is scout locations. And that's my first big obstacle. I have no idea where to found a studio. And so first of all, I know where in the world I'm going to do it. I'm not going to do it in the United States. I'm not going to do it in Europe. I'm going to do it in Canada. I'm going to do it in Ontario. I'm going to do it somewhere in the Quinte region. So I've been able to narrow down that much. But I don't know whether to do it in Trenton, in Belleville, or in Prince Edward County. And there are good reasons to do it in any location. I was born and raised in Trenton, and I think that founding a studio in Trenton would be really cool because it's, like I say, it's where I was born and raised. It's where I still live, at least currently, and I don't know where I'm going to be in the next couple of years. I could end up in Belleville. I could end up living in the county. I'm not sure. But this is where I was born and raised. This is where my family lives, and I think it'd be really cool. I think there's some really cool things going on in Trenton. Do you know that they make dinosaurs in Trenton? Okay, they don't make dinosaurs, but they work on fossils, and they make museum pieces and stuff in Trenton. Of all places in the world, they do this in Trenton, and they're one of Research Casting Institute. They're one of, if not the best place in the world, the best people at doing this. And I think this is just incredible. There's so many cool things like that going on in Trenton, and I think Trenton has a lot of potential. And I think that my studio would be a really neat thing to be in Trenton. And I can remember hanging out on the streets downtown Trenton, as a teenager, wishing I had something to do. And there's a skate park in Trenton right now. And when I was in high school, there was a group of people who got together and said, let's make a skate park. There's no skate park in Trenton. Skaters are always getting in crap for skateboarding at City Hall and downtown and all that kind of stuff. I hung out with skaters, but I wasn't a skater. But we'd get crapped on for hanging around downtown and stuff like that. And so, like, this group of people, which involved a lot of people in the community, but some, like, really, like, crusty punk rockers from my high school, they would have these punk rock shows to raise money for the skate park. And there was a band that I played in. We played at some of these shows. And so, it was really cool seeing a problem. Skaters have nowhere to go and they get chased out of everywhere. And then somebody said, well, then let's make a skate park. And we got to work on it. We did it. And now Trenton has a skate park. And Trenton was one of the first places to have a skate park. I don't mean the first place in the world, but in the Quinte area, Trenton was one of the first places. In the wider Quinte area, Trenton was one of the first places. And so there's a lot of cool things that have happened in Trenton in my lifetime, and I think there's a lot of potential. I think my studio could fit in. So Trenton is a possibility. But the thing is, Belleville's a bigger place, and Belleville, actually let me do the county first. So the county could be cool because I actually get a lot of business in the county. A lot of people hire me in the county to go do photos, and the county's a really, artistic, creative kind of place, and I think to myself, I could really fit in the county. I'd be a lot different than what's already there, but that's good, right? You don't want more of the same. You want something different. And so the county is a possibility. It's almost a no-brainer. But then I think about Belleville, and I think that Belleville's really a hub for like Trenton and the county. And I think, there's, again, I get a lot of business in Belleville, and so maybe Belleville would be a good place. At the end of the day, I don't know which of these places is best. I think my heart says Trenton. I think this is weird to break it down like this, but it's like my heart says Trenton and my brain says Belleville, and then I don't know, something else, some other part of me is saying the county. And I don't know. So that's the obstacle. That's where I am. I have no idea which of these places to choose. And you know what's going to happen. I'm going to end up with a studio in some completely different location. But that's obstacle number one. Okay, I'm not recording this video because I have overcome the obstacle. I'm doing it because that's kind of my first obstacle. It's the thing that bugs me. It's the thing holding me back. It's the thing where if I can't find a place, I can't have a studio, right? So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a list, and I'll check in with this list later, of all the reasons why I might want to do Trenton, or the county, or Belleville, or somewhere else maybe, and so scouting locations is something I need to do over the next 3 months, like from now till Christmas. And making contacts is something I need to do from now till Christmas. And I have a feeling that the answer is going to come partially through scouting locations, but I think the answer is going to come through making contacts. I think I'm going to be surprised at where I end up, and I think it's going to be because of the people that I meet along the way. In the meantime, I'm not going to let this obstacle stop me. I'm not going to say, well, there's nothing I can do till I find a location. What I'm going to be doing is curating my photos, sifting through all my photos, making collections of photos, so that when I get a studio, I have something to put in the studio. When I finally get a location, I'm ready to fill it. And I'm also going to be writing about photography, not how to do photography. I'm going to be writing about my philosophy about photography, because that's what people love. When people learn from me, they do love that I help them learn how to use their camera and take better pictures and everything. But what they really love is my philosophy and the way I do things. So I'm going to keep writing about that. So right now, I have an obstacle, but I am not hung up on that obstacle. I've got a solid 3 months to figure out creative ways to get around that obstacle, and then 3 more months after that to actually solve the location problem. So let's see what happens.